right, thanks for being here. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about what happened yesterday. Former President Trump in the Valley yesterday speaking at Dream City Church in kind of a format that was a town hall setting. And, again, preaching to the choir, a big turnout of people. I happened to drive by there when I left the radio station. That's kind of on the way home. When I go to the grocery store, I go up Cave Creek Road. And the big turnout, really big turnout for people there to see the former president. Obviously, he was in friendly territory, not the protesters I thought were going to be there. I thought this was a little side note, and I know we're talking about the ballots, but here's a side note. Trying to create something that doesn't exist bothers me. There is enough animosity and angst in our society right now without creating more. There was a woman that showed up, and she was a protester by herself in the parking lot, I believe, of the church. And she had made a sign, and I think it looked like on a sheet, a bed sheet or something, that she laid across the hood of her car. And it said MAGA. And MAGA was Make America Gullible Again, was what her sign said. So, great, every right to protest. I don't know what good you thought it was going to do, but you did it. But she was in the parking lot by herself, nobody around her. And the interview was, I'm a little nervous. I don't know what the MAGA crowd's going to do to me. I'm a little scared, looking around, looking over my shoulder. And yet you're afraid, but you showed up in the belly of the beast with a sign mocking the people that you're afraid of on their turf. Nobody around you, nobody saying a word to you, nobody accosting you. But you were afraid. I was a little afraid, a little nervous. I'm looking around, looking over my shoulder. Don't know what they're going to do to me. But I showed up to taunt them. That's go to the zoo and put your hand into the lion's den with a piece of meat in your hand and tell everybody, I hope I don't get bit. But the point is, nobody accosted her. Nobody was paying attention to her. Nobody was yelling at her. But let's create a narrative. I'm afraid. Then what'd you go for? Why would you show up by yourself with a sign mocking attendees of an event and then say to a television camera, I'm really scared of these people? It's absurd. Now, I would have criticized anybody that accosted her or insulted her or paid attention to it, but nobody did. Nobody said a word to this woman. She wasn't near anybody. It was the creation of a narrative. I showed up in the middle of this event to protest this event and mock the attenders of the event, and I want the television cameras to know I'm really afraid of these people. Come on. So as we look at the ballot, Trump leads by 6 points in Nevada, or 5 points in Nevada, I believe, and 6 points in Arizona. The lead is fairly consistent with where it's been. When you add in RFK Jr., the lead increases by 1 or 2 points. What does this mean moving forward? There are some givens. You know who's going to win California. You know who's going to win Texas. You know who's going to win some of these other states. But the toss-up states, these swing states, the ones that are needed, is the former president going to be able to hold on to his lead that he's held? Because if you look, it's within the margin of victory in many of them, but President Trump was holding a lead in like 5 out of 6 swing states. Is that going to reverse because of what we've seen with the convictions? So far, that hasn't been the case. As a matter of fact, the other side of this says that he is catching up in the fundraising. The other part of this is what happened yesterday in France. If you haven't seen it, it's been all over the place now. And when it first happened, there was only one source that was out there. The president seemed confused. And I hate the narrative's terrible because it weakens America. I didn't like it when they falsely did it to the former president about he shouldn't be near the nuclear codes, and we've got mental health experts on. This is the other part of it. Where are the mental health experts on MSNBC now? Where is Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski? Where are they now having mental health experts questioning the mental stability of the current president? This is where you see the difference between journalism and activism. And, I understand, what you're going to get with some of the networks, but they had no problem talking about mental instability in the former president. They won't even address it now. The president seemed confused in France yesterday. He seemed confused on stage with Macron. It looked like he was looking around and he went to sit down in a chair that wasn't there. And the first lady kind of covered her mouth as she said something to him. And we're all assuming it was, there's no chair there, don't sit down. And then she rushed him away. They were greeting veterans. Him and Macron were greeting veterans at this memorial for a commemoration, I should say, for D-Day. And the first lady just grabbed him by the hand and with no notice, just pulled him away and they walked off. Those concerns, this is where I look at people that don't really have skin in the game. What I mean by that is they're concerned citizens and they vote. If you're not a voter, it doesn't matter. Your opinion matters to you, and it matters. I'd love to have a conversation with you. But when we're talking about a ballot breakdown, if you don't vote, you don't matter. You can rage about what your opinion is. If you're not voting, they don't care. Neither candidate cares if you're not a voter, and nor should they. It's like the people here in town that have really strong opinions about the sports teams. They hate them. You know, maybe you're from Chicago and you hate, you're a Bears fan, you hate the Cardinals or you hate the Diamondbacks. If you're from LA, if you're a Dodger fan, I hate the D-backs. I'd never go to a game there. I hate that team. I'd never go there. If there's no chance you're ever going into that stadium, they don't care what you think. No one cares. You're not a potential customer. Why would they care? And when it comes to the ballot breakdown, I look at the people that care and are engaged, but trying to figure out, if you're watching the videos of the president in France and thinking, how do I vote for that for another 4 years? If you watch videos of the town hall yesterday and you don't like the, not attitude's the wrong word, but the way the former president talks about deportations and people coming in and ruining our country, if you don't like the tone, and then you say, well, what am I supposed to do here? I'm going to vote, but I don't know which way I'm going to vote. I may not know until I get into that room. That's a real possibility for some. But if you look at the poll numbers, the conviction of the former president hasn't really changed a lot of minds. For the people that already loved him, they've doubled down their support with the fundraising through the roof. So this is going to be so hard to gauge. We are in June now, and I am as confused about who's going to win this as I've ever been. And we'll see. We are going to see as the months go on.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Catch up on Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast, and click the button in the middle to subscribe.